Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jeff. I'm the CEO and founder of TuringCerts. We are creating a new way to deliver trust. It's a global identity systems. I'm a tech founder educated in UC Berkeley, founded 3 startups, and Turing is actually my 3rd one. What we are creating is a new way to deliver e-certificates that is easily verifiable. Everything is traceable and paperless. People can have their lifelong resume from their birth certificate, their educational journey, their work journey until they die. So entire life will be in one package, in one device. The entire cycle of issue, receive, verify will be super easy to tackle with. We are eco-friendly, saving time, saving costs, so it's very easy to use, and it's a new feature of digitalizations. 4 times faster, 10 times more clients, and we have 2 times more safety control like ISO, GDPR in our system. Right now, we're offering services in 9 countries and regions like US, Europe, Japan, and Taiwan. We have more than 150 organizations using our products, 15 government agencies, and the number of certificates will reach 300,000 at the end of the year. WHO, APAC, Harvard, Berkeley, they are all our clients. We also have like digital affair ministry in Taiwan and a lot of different government agencies in Taiwan using us officially as a Taiwanese government digital certification tool. We can do it for education, we can do it for volunteer certificates, proof of employment, we can do it for real estate finance, and also ESG, green energy certificates. So you can imagine like this new way when the world is going into the direction that faking is too easy, right? We have ChatGPT, you have Midjourney, but finding a way to keep the trust, to deliver trust, will be very, very important and valuable, and that is the thing we are focusing on. Right now, we are in Japan, quickly expanding. Like Tokyo City Government, MIC, they are also using our products to issue e-certificates. We go from an e-certificate machine to a data-driven company, eventually become the lifelong resume for every one of us around the globe. So creating a cross-border lifelong resume and identity is our job, and we are a new way to deliver trust. Thank you so much. I'm Jeff. We are TuringCerts.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Taiwan Tech Arena Pavilion here at Innovex 2023. We are joined today by one of the exhibiting startups this year for a session called Meeting TTA Startups. Today with us, we have TuringCerts, and we have the founder with us, Jeff. Jeff, welcome, and thank you for joining us at the stage.
Thank you for the host, and thank you for inviting me over.
So some of you had the chance of just seeing Jeff pitch on stage, so you already have an introduction to his company. If you didn't have a chance to see his pitch yet, we will go into a little bit more detail about his startup and their solution just now. So Jeff, I wanted to ask you, if you are going to explain what your company does in a very simple way to someone who doesn't really understand technology that deeply, what would you say?
I would say what TuringCerts is working on is a identity card. So basically, you can imagine during your entire lifetime, right now the average age is 83, I think. So during the 83 year, the first certificate you get is a birth certificate. And you have like 12 or 18 years of the study journey, you have the study resume, and you start working. And working maybe 40 years, you have the proof of employment, so many different kind of records, and then you retire, and the final certificate is actually the testament. We put everything, the 80 years into one package, into one portable identity, and then we don't have a card for you. We actually put it into your, for example, like your email, your device, and your fingerprint, your puppet. So it's like you make yourself a portable identity, and no matter where you go in the world, you can easily get verified to know, oh, you are the real person, you are the same person like that. So that's what we do, yeah.
So I don't know if this generalization is accurate or not, but in terms of that, like it reminds me of my grandmother putting her birth certificate under her bed to keep it safe. So in general, we are digitalizing everything, but also securing it, right?
Exactly.
So no matter where I go in the world, let's say I lose my passport, or I don't have my international driver's license on me, or I need my birth certificate, I can access those files in one location.
Right, everything will be in your device. And it's like online, we put it on blockchain safely. So whenever you want to use it, you don't need to bring a pile of paper. You don't need to worry like when you move from places to places, everything just gone, right? Everything will be there for you forever. Whenever you want to access, it's just 1 second. Yeah.
You just mentioned a word that I wouldn't say terrifies me, but tends to confuse me a lot. You know, as a relatively new beginner or newcomer to technology, the technology world, I think when I hear the word blockchain, it's something that I feel is used so often now for almost any solution. They will say blockchain. But when you say secure on blockchain, what does that mean?
Yeah. So let me give blockchain 101.
Thank you.
So if anyone you have heard about blockchain is actually a database. Database means somewhere you put the data, right? It's a box, you put the data in. In the past, we have server. So you put data on server, and when you turn off the server, everything just go down. You cannot access it. What blockchain means is a shareable database across the world. And for everyone who turned on one of the server of blockchain in Taiwan and Japan, the entire system stay intact, stay accessible. So that is what blockchain for. Like you want to go cross country, you want to have data that is more like sustainable, they can store forever, you put it on blockchain. But blockchain also have like transparency, right? Transparency, sometimes people think about, oh, that means insecurity, right? Transparency, people can see my secret data, see where I graduated, see what date I born, right? So everything I put on blockchain has been encrypted safely and stored on blockchain only for verification. So we are not stored on blockchain for surveillance. We store on blockchain for everyone who want to verify, who can verify and get a true or not true answer. Yeah,
okay.
That's what we do.
You know, that was a really great description. I think that actually really allowed me to understand how that works. I think, yeah, you definitely mentioned some of the concern, like someone who doesn't have a lot of knowledge about this world, or is not an engineer, or doesn't have any, existing experience with blockchain. They worry about that. You know, even myself, I'm not more than middle 30s, but still I worry, okay, what about my data? Is it safe? Because I grew up listening to a lot of identity theft, or people getting cheated, or people's identity, the credit card getting stolen.
Right.
So for me, when people say, oh, it's secure online, I still connect that with some kind of insecurity. Not security, but insecurity.
Yeah.
So in general, your solution by using blockchain makes sure that my data is accessible anywhere, anytime, but it's not dependent on a server. So in case the server is hacked, by the way,
yeah,
my data is not safe, right? But on blockchain, it's then safer.
That's right. That's exactly what I mean. And actually, when people talk about like as a transparency, if we want to put the entire original data on blockchain, it's usually not doable. Because blockchain only good for storing the code, the verifiable code, and not the entire original data. So we only store something up there for future verification, but not for the data readiness, right? So that's what we do. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I saw your presentation. First of all, you do have quite a lot of market, right?
You have
a very broad market, because almost anywhere we use today, or anything we touch today, it needs a certificate. So, like as you mentioned, the first one is your birth certificate. The last one may be your death certificate or your testament, but we will not discuss that here today. But I think you do have a lot of chances to need this service all the time. But what would you say currently, right now, is the biggest market?
Yeah, so for Turing, this is actually our third year. So we tried a lot of different kind of industries in the past. Our first industry is actually education. Education is just nearby. It's our neighbor, because I was a student. So when I was studying in California, I just think, okay, blockchain, if I want to deal with trust, I go with diploma, right? That's a very intuitive way of thinking. So we just start with education. After 2 years, we find out it will be hard. Like education is usually, sadly, is usually the last place new technology will go to. New technology usually go to a more valuable, high efficiency, higher demand industry, and that is usually not education. So for the third year of the Turing, we actually switched to focus on 3 industries. The top one is healthcare. So we actually issue lots of certificates for doctors, for nurses, for patients. You can imagine, for example, a patient who go to apply for insurance, but give a fake proof of the health status, and get the money back, and insurance company gonna lose a lot of money. So verifying the trust, the truth in between will be very, very important. Healthcare is one. We also do real estate as a second. Third one is a governmental identity. So governmental identity also associated with the thing we are working on is green energy certificates. So these three will be the majority of our focus for 2023. Yeah.
First of all, let me say, I think it's interesting that you mentioned education. I come from a background of education. So as a licensed teacher, I do have, recollection of what you say is not always prioritized. I think maybe it's also, even though it's an industry that needs certificates very regularly, it's maybe not a critical industry. Whereas when you mentioned healthcare, you mentioned government, it's a place where it's very necessary to ensure data security, but also data accuracy and data access.
Yeah,
right?
That's about life, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But you then mentioned a theme that I didn't think about, a category I didn't think about, green energy. What does that mean? Could you elaborate a little bit on that? Because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, so in the incoming future world, actually in the past, humanity, we are developing so quick that we forget about our environments. So in the future, we have so much regulation in Europe, in US, in Asia, that whenever you want to develop new products, you build a new factory, you will be taxed according to how much maybe energy you use and electricity you use and how much carbon you produce, right? So there are two directions. One is about renewable energy usage. The other one is about the carbon emission reduction. For these two, they're just in the air, right? We can talk about it, but we cannot put it right there on the seat. We cannot put it right there in my hands. Yeah. It's just air. To make sure that air is recorded accurately, because the air is actually valuable. It's about money. We need a certificate attached to each tons of the carbon emission reduction. Right, so certificate actually means more than that thing about carbon emission reduction or renewable energy certificates. So that's the thing we are focusing on. And for the near future, people talk about this. If they want to trigger the entire focus of the economy on this topic, they need to make it tradable, right? Make it tradable. Trading air is difficult, right?
It sounds very abstract, I have to admit.
So we need to have that attachable certificate to each those tons of the carbon emission reduction, and then we can make it easily accountable, make it easily tradable, make it available for exchanges, make it available for connectivity about exchanges in Singapore, in Japan, in Taiwan, in the world. So that's the thing we are working on to certify that air thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to follow you and then going forward, because I would say trading air sounds like a very foreign concept to me, but I do know that green tech in general has been the hot topic of the last few years. It's definitely going to be a topic going forward with the net zero emissions,
right.
With the global net zero planning from each government around the world. So what market do you see that this is moving the fastest in? Who is more perceptive or acceptable of this kind of service?
Usually Western country, they move faster. From my current knowledge is United States will start doing this kind of taxing in 2025. Europe will be in 2028. Some of the Asian countries are catching up right now. For example, Taiwan, we have that carbon fee starting from 2024. So whenever you want to do business internally, you'll be charged. Whenever you want to do business externally, you want to go abroad, someone will ask for your this kind of proof. If you don't have it, they're gonna change the vendor. And when they change the vendor, you lose the business. So everyone are forced to follow. So whenever there's somewhere downstream, for example, Apple computer, they want every vendor upstream to have this. Then every factory, every player upstream need to have this. They need to be compliant with this kind of new regulation. So that's how the world is moving right now. And the Western country move faster currently. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that the Western countries, so particularly the US right now, they're already putting this into regulation?
Yeah.
From 2025?
Yeah, and if you don't have it, they will say, okay, please don't import your product to our country. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like your market is going to be steadily expanding over the next few years, hopefully.
We will try hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I wanted to ask, and tapping into that, right now you mentioned you have more than 120 user cases, right? So where does the majority come from at the moment?
For the past 2 years, it's still education. So around 120, right now it's 150. It grew really fast. Around, I think 42 are university departments. So for example, like NTU, NTHU, they are also our clients. We also have like Berkeley, because I graduated later, so I just went straight to knock the door of the law school saying, do you want to use our technology? They become our first clients. And luckily, so 42 schools, I think 15 to 20 they are governments. So city governments like Taipei, Hsinchu, Taoyuan, they are using our products for different kind of user, education, volunteer, proof of employment. And the rest, like the new one, hospital, I think there are 10 right now, but it's growing really fast because that's a new focus. We have real estate company, I think 2 to 3 right now. Green energy projects still undergoing. So that's the thing we are having about the portion and percentage right now. Yeah.
So adding on to that.
Yeah.
So you are very present in the American market. I know that. You're also strongly present in the Taiwanese local market. So where is the next market of your focus?
Japan.
Japan,
So,
okay. Any particular reason for that?
Yeah. The food is good. I love it.
Okay.
So since last June, 2022 June, I went to Japan 6 times. Go so many cities and then talk to their DX departments, because each of their city they have something similar to Taiwan. Taiwan we have a Ministry of the Digital Affairs. They have that ministry in each of the city.
So instead of one localized unit in Tokyo, they have centralized units in their own cities.
Right. It's called DX. Digital Transformation Departments. So Tokyo have DX departments, Fukuoka, Kobe City, Okinawa, they have different kind of DX departments. So we just talk to them saying, what is your next step for your policy about technology? And a lot of them talking about get rid of paper. You know, Japan use paper very heavily. And that actually become a very cumbersome thing for them to do digitalization. When they want to increase the efficiency, it's nearly impossible. So our job, we haven't touched the true or not true issue. Our first job is to take the step, help them digitalizing everything. When you're digitalizing, it'll be easier, having a higher efficiency. And the next step is, because digitalizing make it easier to fake, right? If you want to fake something on the paper, it might take like 5 to 10 minutes, right? If you fake something on PDF editor, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So we need to add a digital signature on it. We need to add the blockchain functionality on it. We need to add hash on it, encryption on it, to make sure it's digitalized, become easier to use, but it's safer. So that's the thing we are doing for Japan.
So actually it's kind of like standardizing digitalization
Exactly.
first, right?
Exactly.
I think my background from Denmark, I'm from Denmark originally,
Nice.
they also started their digitalization around 8 years back. It became very evident. I think working in Taiwan, I think they're starting to do it now. A lot of processes going through it. I think for local government, of course, it may take some longer time, especially in the Asian region. So I'm wondering, your next focus market is Japan. How do you find the local environment and the acceptativeness of this kind of service compared to Taiwan?
Oh yeah, I think a lot of similarity and a lot of differences. The similarity is, I think, because we are pretty close. And Taiwan was, in the 100 years ago, we were a part of Japan. So the culture is pretty similar. And people care about trust. When people talk about product, they first focus on brands. When people talk about brands, they focus on who introduced that brand to them. So the people is a core. If I trust you, everything you're gonna sell me, I'm gonna trust those products. So that's how we build up trust relationship. For differences, I think Japan for software development is a bit, like Taiwan is ahead of Japan, I think 3 to 5 years. Not a long time span, but a bit faster. So Japan, they want to put all energy and emphasis on this to digitalizing their policy to remove the stamping issue. Yeah. You know, in the past, for every document in Japan, governmental issue, they need to put a stamp, and it need to go from the lower tier, middle tier, top tier. It's gonna take months or even years. I think last year they have a new policy saying they want to remove 99.7% of the stamping procedure in the government. I don't know having been taken place or not, but they want to take the action. I think that's the right timing for us.
I think having the intention to take action is very important. I think especially the difference between Europe, the US, Asia. I think in Asia, the first step is always having the attention, convincing them that this is the way forward. And then usually they tend to be very fast in their actions from there. So thank you so much for sharing all of these details with us. And I'm wondering if there's something you want to share that you feel like is a really crucial message for TuringCerts at the moment.
Yeah. I want to talk about the very important future.
Yeah.
So a lot of startup, for example, the average acquisition time span is 7 years in Silicon Valley. It's 11 years for IPO usually. But we are not only looking at this as an 11-year projects. Even though Turing wants to go to NASDAQ in 2027, but we make it a 25 to 50-year projects. So what we want to do is we are thinking in 2050, the entire world, the earth will be different, that governmental power will be a little bit weakened. Large companies thrive to control data, control identity, control everything about human life. It's like in the movie, right?
Yeah.
But usually those are bad companies. So I'm just imagining in 2050, what industry will be the key industry for those huge, enormous companies to survive? I think there are three: healthcare, energy, and digital, digital trust. And we focus on digital trust. I want to talk about healthcare and energy. To destroy a country, healthcare become a new weapon.
Yes.
So it's a thing. To destroy a city, you just need to turn down the power for 48 hours and the city goes to crazy. So those are huge, like weaponized thing for 2050. Digital trust is, even though everything is real, it's like okay, like normal life, but when you see someone and you don't know if that person is the real person or not real person, if you are in the VR metaverse world and avatar pop up and you don't know is it a machine or a human, they'll be terrible. Like every message you receive, every code you receive is a like changed voice that mutate to be like your family, like your parent, but actually is controlled by the other person. They'll be so like terrible in the future. So digital trust is like if everyone is live like happily and peacefully, but maybe we're all controlled by one single party. And so I think in the 2050, Turing want to become that trust delivery machine. We want to make sure everything you get are actually real. And you know, like right now, like people talk about ChatGPT mid-journey. AI generated threshold it is so low. Like any single one of us can generate fake it, not like AI generate content in just a flip of finger. When fake become more easy, how can we tell the truth, right? So Turing wants to be that differentiation for people to find the trust. So I think that's the 2050 end goal, the end game of Turing. Yeah.
I want to thank you, first of all, for coming today, but I also want to say thank you for sharing that, because I think with the current debate of generative AI and the digital trust and going forward, the pros and cons in this area is a huge debate at the moment. It's very hot. A lot of people voice out their opinion, and we definitely look forward to hearing more from TuringCerts. I am certain that we're going to hear a lot from you in the near future, and hopefully all the way until 2050. So thank you, Jeff, for joining us today, and I hope we get a chance to interview you more in the future. So thank you everyone for joining us here at the Taiwan Tech Arena session, meeting Taiwan TTA startups. Today this is TuringCerts and the founder Jeff. And if you are interested in meeting Jeff, you are more than welcome to stop by the TTA Pavilion here at Innovex 2023. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.